In 1989, Soviet scientists drilled 12 kilometers straight down into the Earth. They broke through rock that had been sealed since the planet was formed. They reached temperatures that melted their equipment. They found water where water should not exist. And then they stopped. The official explanation was temperature, too hot to continue. But 6 years later, the entire project was abandoned. The hole was welded shut with a rusted metal cap and left alone on the frozen Russian tundra. That cap is still there today, a circle just 23 centimeters wide, leading 12 kilometers straight down into the Earth's crust. No one has opened it since. This is the story of the Kola Superdeep Borehole, the deepest hole humanity has ever drilled, and what they found at the bottom. It started as a competition. In the 1960s, the United States and Soviet Union were racing for everything: space, weapons, technology, and beneath the surface, they were racing to drill deeper than anyone had ever gone before. The Americans launched Project Mohole in 1961. Their goal was to drill through the Earth's crust and reach the mantle, the hot, flowing layer beneath. They started drilling off the coast of Mexico. But by 1966, funding was cut. The project collapsed. The Soviets saw an opportunity. In 1970, they began drilling on the Kola Peninsula, a frozen, remote stretch of land above the Arctic Circle. Their goal wasn't just to beat the Americans. They wanted to drill deeper than any human had ever gone. They wanted to see what was down there. For 24 years, they drilled. They didn't stop for politics. They didn't stop for funding crises. It had no connection to rain or groundwater. It appeared to have been generated by the rock itself. hydrogen and oxygen atoms squeezed out of minerals by unimaginable pressure. Water that was born inside the Earth. At 10 kilometers, the temperature hit 180 degrees Celsius. This was far hotter than their models predicted. The scientists had expected about 100 degrees at this depth. They were wrong by almost double. The heat changed everything. The rock stopped behaving like rock. At these temperatures and pressures, solid stone began to flow like plastic. It didn't melt, but it moved, slowly, like cold honey. The drill bits couldn't handle it. The rock would grip them, seal around them. The equipment would get stuck, and they'd have to abandon it and start again. They burned through drill bits by the hundreds. Each one lasted only a few hours before the heat destroyed it. And still, they kept going. At 12,262 meters, they made their final discovery. Pockets of gas trapped in the rock. Not just any gas, hydrogen, helium, and other compounds that had been sealed since the Earth was formed. Primordial gas, untouched for 4.5 billion years. Some of these gases were completely unexpected. They suggested chemical reactions happening deep within the Earth that scientists had never theorized. The rock at this depth was strange, porous when it should have been solid, wet when it should have been dry, hot when it should have been cooler. Everything they found contradicted what they thought they knew about the planet's interior. And then the drilling stopped. The official reason was temperature. At 180 degrees Celsius, the equipment simply couldn't function. The drill bits melted, the mud boiled, the sensors failed. They had reached the limit of 1980s technology. But there may have been other reasons. By 1992, the Soviet Union had collapsed. Funding for the project evaporated. The scientists who had dedicated their careers to the borehole were left with nothing. In 1995, the drilling was officially stopped. The site was abandoned. The borehole was capped with a heavy metal seal and welded shut. The equipment was left to rust. The buildings were abandoned. The scientists went home. No one ever returned to reopen it. Today, the Kola Superdeep Borehole is still there. If you travel to the Kola Peninsula, a frozen wasteland 150 kilometers from the nearest town, you can find it. A rusted metal cap bolted into the ground, just 23 centimeters wide. Beneath that cap is a hole that drops 12 kilometers straight down into the earth, the deepest point any human has ever reached. No one has opened it since 1995. The equipment is gone, the scientists are gone, the funding is gone, and the questions remain. Why was the water there? How did fossils survive for 2 billion years? What else is in those gas pockets? What would we find if we drilled just a little deeper? We don't know. The Kola Superdeep Borehole was humanity's deepest attempt to understand what lies beneath us. And we stopped. Not because we found the answer, because we couldn't go any further. The Earth pushed back. The heat was too great. The rock was too strange. The pressure was too much. We drilled for 24 years. We made it 12 kilometers. The Earth's crust is 35 kilometers thick. We barely scratched the surface. And what's truly at the bottom remains unexplained.